Good Lord.
I've seen you eat pie. I've seen you eat pie and
Not
cake
that
before.
late. I'll do it at the start of the D&D session.
Have I not seen you eat like cake like before chat?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I think you have.
I
Cake.
think you have.
I maybe done. Well, I think dairy would be my cutoff mainly. Like, I don't want to do ice creamy stuff.
Cake's okay, ice cream's not.
That's probably the line for me. Yeah. You know
It's
what's
all set
fucking
for me.
You know what's fucking good? There's a local ice cream place that does all the fun different flavors every time, and they have a pistachio ice cream. It is the fucking best.
Yeah.
You talk about Big Nut. Like, holy
Yeah,
shit.
there you go. Pistachio. Yeah.
We realized they can sell it in pints, so I got my usual like to go thing. We always go on Fridays, and I also like give me the fucking pint of pistachio. Like, it's fucking so good.
Yeah.
We'll see how long it lasts, but holy shit, that pistachio ice cream.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Chat from the Deep, our weekly live stream post-session discussion. We talk about ice cream flavors.
Right.
This is the chat for session 42, so if you haven't watched that session yet, please go do that now because there will be lots of spoilers. I'm your DM Eric, and joining me we have Mr. Ice Cream Sandwich, Gottwald's player Chris,
Hello.
and
Cookies and cream ice cream sandwich.
Matt's
Hello.
player Raymond. Hello. That is a good flavor. So we got ourselves a dungeon crawl, an underwater dungeon crawl.
I feel like we didn't do much of the dungeon part. We skipped most of it, right?
You kind of did, but that's okay.
Yeah. It felt okay at the end.
What's interesting is I assumed this place would take us 2 sessions, but I also assumed you guys would do more of the things. And really, Toril did such a good job early on with scouting that he kind of saw like, okay, there's a danger room over here. I need to go get everybody else. And then you guys,
Yeah, what I missed? What I missed over there?
So
I fell asleep.
yeah, you know what's funny? I should give you shit for that, but honestly, I empathize because I was literally telling Chris like, man, I was wanting to take a nap right before the session,
right before the
but it was like 9 o'clock, and I was like, I can't nap that soon before, so I just got coffee instead. So yeah, because you and Twirl were down here exploring. And without you, it had to just go to Twirl to explore. So he examined the body, saw they had claw marks and puncture wounds, went through an open door on the right side of the map, saw more Sahuagin bodies, and kept rolling these monster stealth checks, and finally a really good perception checks. It's like, all right, you see like a creature that, you know, looks like kind of I was painting the picture like a ghoulish version of a Sahuagin, like, you know, looks like it's eating some of another body or something, and Torval was like, all right, I'm noping out of that. So you guys went out and left and got the others and then came back in, and we kind of flavored it where you were taking care of the shark and dealing with that. And then you all, instead of going up to that area to the northeast, you all went west into that main hallway chamber where you then triggered a trap.
Now, was there any penalty for going up and back down? Because, you know, previously when you described it, it took a long time to get down.
We kind of prepped a little bit. Like when
Yeah.
you came back and warned us, we drank potions and did things.
No, not that part, but like, you know, all the going ons down below.
No, I let you guys
Like
go
the
back
duck-
and forth pretty easily. Like, it wasn't really too much of a concern at that point.
Yeah. Like
and-
whatever we're witnessing wasn't like, you know, ongoing sort of thing.
Right. Well, yeah, that's true. Some time probably could have passed, right? But it was whatever. You guys, D&D is weird things with speed and time and stuff. So, you know, you can go pretty quick. Especially you and Twirl could go pretty quick underwater, frankly. So it probably only takes like a minute for you guys to actually surface. Now, the rest of you going down would definitely be slower for sure. And yeah, I think God will drink a potion of water breathing. And I was going to track it where if we were really going to do multiple rooms and short rests and stuff, then I probably would have had you drink another potion of water breathing. But instead, you kind of just did this one area. So you guys went west into the main hallway. There was a trap in there. There was kind of a whirlpool trap, which I basically copied the stat block of one of the Sahuagin. If you recall, Ray, the one that cast a whirlpool on you one time. I don't know if you remember. You were like trying to chase him down, and I think he cast a whirlpool behind him or something. I think it was the only time you guys fought that particular stat block of a Sahuagin, and so I used that as basically the trap effect here, as it's like a vortex thing. And Gottwald managed to pull Sabra out of it, and kind of just decided to go north and check out a locked door. Basically, the west room I had described, and you guys could see it pretty clearly. It was open, and it had the sarcophagi and the coffins and stuff. And you guys had to go north, which, unbeknownst to you, happened to be the gigantic main boss chamber here. So
Now, can you say, like, would anything have happened if we had gone to the sarcophagus first?
oh yeah,
Right. Yeah. At the end.
yeah. I guess I can go to reveal it, right? You guys are done with this area.
Yeah, we've already left. So.
Yeah. So you technically skipped the right room, or Toril scouted it out, but there were more of those vampire spawn in there, which is a stat block. That there is a vampire spawn stat block, but it's for humans and it's pretty strong. But if you recall, there is a kobold vampire spawn stat block that we used in Rime of the Frost Maiden during that one section of the caves. So I kind of used that to create a Sahuagin vampire spawn thing going on here. So this whole location is from Call from the Deep, but I used a different map. Shout out to Seafoot Games. The description of where you can find the map should be in the description of the video. I used this map, which is a underwater temple ruins. So the original maps with Call from the Deep are not good for virtual tabletop. They're just kind of black and white stuff.
Right.
And because I used a different map, I could kind of reorder the rooms a little bit and change things around. I tried to keep generally what the rooms were, but then I thought I want to do kind of what Omen's Isle did, which was include one of the pirate captains here at this location. And I went through several iterations of how to do that. It's like, all right, maybe they come across and he's already dead and they have to deal with the vampires, like the big boss fight, or maybe they meet with the vampire and Dirge comes up behind them with his whole crew, and that's a whole thing. So I tried to come up with what I think is going to be the more interesting scenario here. And ultimately, I wanted you to actually fight Dirge because I had a very cool, unique stat block with the 4 wands, able to cast 2 at a time. That's pretty fun. And this big room actually afforded him which that was one interesting disadvantage. You guys didn't know that, but if you do end up skipping the dungeon and doing this one door down here, you are the furthest possible away from Dirge, which does make
real bad for me.
Yes, it makes it really hard. And he also has 120 feet dark vision range, and the range on his wands are all pretty sick too. So, had you guys gone in the side ways, which would require you to go through more of the rooms, there are side entrances that would have put you a lot closer. To him as well. So the vampire being in a underwater dungeon is from Call from the Deep. The fact that Dirge was here and had already fought the vampire, and that the vampire was attacking him and turning his people into vampire spawn, all of that was stuff that I added to this adventure. The crypts are part of the adventure. And they are full of treasure, but they are guarded by the undead spirits of the merfolk, which is a wraith, and added a bunch of banshees in there. So that would have been
like outside of the vampire lady. Like
yes.
There's also ghosts. Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, they specifically just guard and haunt their.
Okay.
Basically, if you just start looting the sarcophagi, then
I figured it was the same as back in the previous cavern, where like the ghosts would appear or something like that.
Yeah, I thought about that too. I was like, we already pulled this thing. We're like, ghosts appear if you rob the thing, but at least they're different ghosts. I don't know.
Sure, I mean,
we're going through all the ghost stat blocks.
No, that part's fine, but that's why I wasn't sure. It's like, if the Storm Maiden was looking for some treasures, should we try to find it also?
Right.
Not being like a loot hunter or anything, but I wasn't sure if there was something important.
Oh, I see. Yeah, like an actual mission item that they're finding. Yeah.
Right.
If there was, I would have probably been more encouraging or done something that's like, yeah, here's your chance to get, I wouldn't want you to miss out on that. But no, this was definitely meant to be. This is purely optional. It is full of there's some loot in here. And I even teased the fact that she had like some bracers on or something that was magical. The problem is you got to fight a fucking vampire lady in her lair to do it. And that's after you guys just did a fight. And I knew part of this social scene would probably depend on how well the previous fight went. Like, depending, how many hit points do you guys have? How powerful are you feeling?
We talked about this during the break a little bit, but I don't know that it would have. I feel like even if we were at full strength, you presenting her the way you did had an effect on us, because it was almost like presenting us with a dragon. It's like, well, this is a fucking something, and it's talking to us, so obviously it's not in our best interest to attack them, even if we are at full strength. So I don't think if we had been like flush with stuff,
Yeah.
I still don't think we would have fought her.
Yeah.
I still think
I
it was
agree.
like yeah.
The way you describe her, I was a little scared.
It almost reminds the first time we did this in any of our campaigns, I remember, was the and this way ended up kind of turning into slight combat, was the green dragon in the very beginning
Oh, wow. Phandelver.
before Princes. Yeah, Phandelver.
Yeah.
But since then, I've always kind of had that idea of that kind of encounter where like you're dealing with someone who is just obviously more powerful than you.
Yeah.
You could fight them and maybe you can win, but it's obvious that that's not the general intention of the fight.
Right.
Or of the encounter, I mean. And this felt like one of those. It felt like one of those encounters where like, okay, the intention isn't a brawl that we can easily win.
Right.
So she's got to be something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've never used a vampire before. I don't know what a vampire lord's stat block even looks like.
Yeah. And I think we talked about this a little bit before the stream, but you know, if Kalinar were in this fight, or somebody that had more scruples about hating undead or something, or being a you know, a lot of people might
Kalinar or Kethra with the stealing stuff.
Yeah, like you,
like
no,
somebody
getting that
who,
loot. Yeah,
somebody who is compulsively stealing things.
Yeah.
I feel like either one of those could have tipped this a little bit.
yeah. So it was always on the table, and the other interesting thing would have been, had there was nothing stopping you from going to the sarcophagus room first, looting it, and then going to this room and doing all that, which suddenly creates a much tenser scenario, because I would have probably had, through DM magics, had her sense the fact, or maybe you guys are even wielding that stuff, like, hey, you looted that shit, you need to explain yourselves, and that would have created a much more, and maybe then she wouldn't have been nearly as accommodating.
Right.
Depending
That's funny
on how you
because
guys react.
I feel like the psychology of that is that's a total 180. Because if we have in our hands the loot,
yeah.
then it's
would
like,
you actually part with said loot?
Yeah, would we part with it?
Yeah.
That's actually a much trickier question.
That would be trickier, yeah. I mean, she's a very strong stat block. Obviously, you guys are still very powerful, but
I do think though that like she presented as somebody who wasn't openly hostile.
Yeah.
Not taking too much back to our last week's conversation, but this is almost, I think, what we were imagining how to go down. Like we could have fought her, obviously, but like she opened it up to conversation. So we're like, all right, we're gonna back off. We're gonna adjudicate this.
And that part is from Call from the Deep, where she's meant to be just kind of a gracious host. She's pretty nice. Everything's pretty chill, which is my main problem with that location, was that in the original dungeon, the first room is basically her coming out and greeting you.
So there could just be no combat at all. Like you just say like, okay, let's leave.
Yeah. Or I guess the other thing is the tricky thing of like, oh, do you want to like sneak around and start like looting the place? But that gets real dangerous. So maybe it becomes a different context. So
interesting.
Yeah.
That would be a whole other thing if like we started out. But again, why are we there? Like as far as I can tell, in the narrative that you've built for this story, we're there because the pirate lord is there.
Yes,
and that's it.
Right, which is not what the original adventure is. It's just like a location you can use, and then I think they give you some ideas of like how to use them, which is like, I think one of them is like, oh, people are missing in the area, go investigate. And you go investigate, and it's like, oh, there's a vampire here, so I guess we need to kill this vampire. So it becomes a much different.
That would have been different. That would have been a different.
Yeah.
We would have been much more hostile to the vampire if our like, you know, the quest tracker had said like, investigate missing people in this area.
Right. That
would have been like, okay, well, we're probably gonna have to kill her.
Yeah, so that definitely changes the context. She also had 4 gargoyles with her. But I didn't.
Okay, that's random.
It is random. I had them on the map on the GM layer, and I was like, I could use them, but I never actually like. She never used them in the Sahuagin fight, obviously, because I never showcased them. It was just like her flitting around, like biting people. And then I also definitely cheated because well, I didn't cheat, but I actually tried to explain it in dialogue. But when you create vampire spawn, it's supposed to take like a day or something. It's
Oh,
like
I
you
remember you
defeat
did say
somebody and
that,
then they
yeah.
raise after you like bury them or something. So I tried to like make a funny thing about like, hey, I didn't even know this was gonna happen this quick. It's something to do with their slogging
Right.
bodies. But I thought it'd be cool to kind of add that like Walking Dead-esque situation where like, oh shit, the bodies are like animating right now. And I was telling
yeah.
I was saying also this before the stream, but I do like a good big fight that kind of has a finite climactic cutscene endpoint that I can trigger. That way, I know the fight's never going to just end up being a bit of a slog. This one got close to there because Dirge kind of... You guys did a good job doing AoE damage and taking a lot of little guys out.
Yeah.
So my plan was always to trigger her appearance when Dirge went down.
Yeah.
And then, she
makes
would
sense.
just rip apart the rest of it. I was going to have her come down and like rip apart a Swagan or something, but obviously...
But he was the last one
he was
left,
not-
right?
Yeah, and I kind of figured that would be the case because...
Yeah.
He had, by the way, 115 hit points.
Okay.
He was slightly injured.
Nice.
I gave him 130 and then deleted 15 off of there to show that he was injured.
Yeah.
Boy, that would have really changed the fucking fight if Reese had banished him too. Holy shit.
That would have, yeah.
'Cause I literally
would you
gave
have triggered
him-
the vampire? Would you have? Yeah, it's like, what do you even do then?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I gave him a point of legendary resistance because I think bosses probably, like mini bosses should probably have like 1 and then big bosses can have 3.
Yeah.
And it felt bad to have to trigger it on the very first thing. I almost thought about not doing it
It was
because
the static, right? It was the
muddle thing, and I thought the muddle actually doesn't matter if he's casting.
I don't think it would have changed.
spells,
In hindsight,
right?
in seeing what he did, it wouldn't have changed anything
Right.
because it was all wands.
But I thought he doesn't
The
know to
damage.
save. He doesn't know to save it for something worse, and that
Oh,
seems
yeah.
pretty bad at the time, right? This huge
It
psychic
got-
spell is going
yeah.
to do 30 damage. It's like, yeah, he would probably go ahead and use
Yeah,
Blizzard resistance, and then of course Reese immediately followed up with ban. And I'm just fucking that.
I can see it. I
Just
can
Jordan
see it.
Peele
You were-
sweating like everything out. Like I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, this fucking spell is gonna
yeah.
really neuter this. Because yeah, I did have that plan to have her show up, but then that's how weird is that if like he gets banished and then you guys fight the 2 underlings, and then my plan was to have the Sawagan spawn at the end of each round. And it was
Yeah.
like 1 spawns and maybe 2 spawn, depending on how the thing goes. I might, hold off or do more or less depending on how bad the fight's going. So I was like, how do I do this if Dirge gets banished for like a minute? Then I can still have the fight and have those guys, maybe more of those guys start spawning, and then maybe through attacking Toril it could maybe undo it or something.
You could have turned it into a tense conversation because you could have just gone like, okay, Dirge is gone.
Yeah.
Trigger the vampire.
Sure, the
She
vampire,
comes down.
because she's
she's
impressed by
talking
like,
to
oh, he
you.
disappeared.
She's talking to you. Meanwhile, Toril's trying to hold the concentration on
Concentration,
keeping
yeah.
him away. It could have
Yeah.
been something like that, or it's like,
Yeah.
okay, do we want to fight her knowing that Dirge is going to pop back
Because she
in
would
here
be
in just a
interested, like,
second?
you made him disappear. How did you do
Yeah.
that? Yeah, I probably would have done that, but that would have really changed the fight around.
That would have changed the whole thing for sure.
But I think it almost would have been like a neutered thing, because then you'd be like, oh, well, yeah, he's going to come back. We can just kill him real quick, vampire lady. Let's do it
Oh,
together.
it would just side with her and just
Yeah.
choose to kill him when he comes back. Yeah,
Or
that would have been
maybe
awkward.
she's just like fucks off and says like, let's just see how you do it. And then I've seen how you
Yeah,
guys can
maybe,
just demolish people who are left on this. So it definitely would have really changed the cadence of that fight.
for sure.
So it sucks. I could go off on a rant about spells that can, which we haven't gone to really high level, but there's spells like Force Cage and ones that just,
You guys, I mean, every time I've DM'd, you guys have used things like Hold Monster and things that just like turn off a fight. It's just like it's a thing. It's
it's a thing, but those ones that just literally like delete things completely is it's painful.
Yep.
So he didn't succeed? Or
No, he didn't.
He tried to cast it, and I actually made the save naturally,
Hmm.
which was a shocker.
Like 2. I think he rolled like a 17 or something.
Yeah, it was
15.
No, I think it was really close, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Twirl's DC is actually not that high because
Yeah.
he used a lot of his stats to pump his defense up.
Yep.
I think
Yeah, I thought this fight was very interesting. I liked it, even though I didn't do much. But
yeah, you're a
I
good
thought it was
sport. I don't think I could do that to too many players, but you took it with you didn't bitch about it too much, and I was like, oh man, this is devastating for you, just being able to like swim up and then immediately have to swim backwards.
yeah. But I thought
at one point I do have to play.
We don't fight spellcasters that often.
Right.
I think they're really interesting to fight because they do, through their spells, change the battle dynamics like drastically.
Mhm.
Like making a player run away. So now that they're not in the head of the fight, or the Wand of Wonder doing something wild,
God.
which it didn't, which was funny.
I was like, I cannot open with the Wand of Wonder.
Yeah.
But I will do it. Honestly, I was using it. Well, I don't know how I was using it. I said, like, all right, we'll use all 4 wands first, and then I'll kind of pick and choose from there. I know I didn't want to just fire lightning bolts the whole time. That would have just been devastating.
That would have been pretty. Can it do that? Can it just fire lightning bolts constantly?
It can fire quite a few if he's got his charges. Yeah. I mean, if I assume he's got max charges, and his stat block literally says he can fire 2 wands in 1 turn.
Okay, you're only limited by your charges then.
Yeah. I think he could have. There was one other spell. It was hold monster. I forgot he had the Wand of Binding, so I think I gave him.
He never tried that again, did he?
I thought he did try it twice.
He tried it once.
He tried it once.
I remember he tried it once. It didn't work on Toril.
He did. So the first thing he did was the bind on Toril made the save, and then the lightning bolt. Second round he did the fear, which hit you, and one of the Swaggin Spawn,
and the spawn,
and the Wand of Wonder, which just turned Toril into a blue Toril.
A blue jay.
And then round 3, he fired another lightning bolt. Because you guys were just in a nice little line again.
And I think the Wand of Wonder again?
I think Wand of Wonder again. Yeah, because I was like, oh shit, he did like another lightning bolt. That Sabra went down. All right, let's see what the Wand of Wonder does and just let Fate take it. And Fate was like, nope, he's not doing anything crazy.
Yep, not doing anything at all. It wasn't even like a minor effect. It was both of them were just like,
it was like a nothing
not
effect.
Mechanically, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And I think he was probably dead before round 4 then.
I think so, because I don't remember him doing anything else.
You guys are just doing raw damage to him.
Yeah. But anyway, I think it was a fun fight just because of that, because of the randomness of what he was doing was sort of changing the fight on a turn by turn.
We did forget about the one debuff that Sabra gave him, which is he can only use the action, bonus action, or movement.
Oh, we did forget about that.
But literally his action, one of his actions is to expend a charge from up to 2 wands. Like, so I don't think it would have changed what he was doing.
It only would have changed because I think at one point he moved back so he could hit more people with one of the wands.
Yeah, that's true. That was the fear turn where he did that.
Yeah.
So.
But beyond that, I think you're right. I don't think he did anything besides his action.
Yeah. Yep. So I honestly planned this place to take a full 2 sessions because it was a full dungeon, but you guys ended up doing everything in one. Granted, we took a little bit longer. But
it's kind of 1.5, right? Because we did not 1.5.
Well, that's true.
30 minutes of it.
I guess I was assuming it would take another 2 sessions. I guess.
Okay.
Beyond what to be fair, I think Mac and Toril technically surpassed the first room, which was the giant shark outside. Yeah. And you guys got through that one socially. And then basically skipped to the 2 combat rooms, which is the other Swaggin Spawn and then the ghosts in the sarcophagus.
Yeah.
You did do the trap. So originally this map had open doors even leading from those 2 side rooms up to the middle room. And I was like, all right, I'm taking, as much as I like an open dungeon, I'm taking those out because I want you guys to at least experience some danger room before getting to the boss room. Whether that's...
Right, because we could see the boss immediately then, right? If they'd all been open.
Well, they were doors, but I'm just saying you could have gone from the room where you found the first Swaggin bodies right into the boss room. And I was like, that's too much if I want to create a cool trap in this hallway thing.
Gotcha.
So I blocked those off and deleted those doors.
Yeah.
What's up with that lock picking? We haven't had too many locks in this campaign.
Yeah, mundane locks. We have not had many.
Door locked
Yeah, I think that was. Is that part of the dungeon? I might have just done that. I don't actually remember if that. Oh, I probably did do that because I had to recreate this dungeon. Yeah, I just.
It also would have changed. It also would have changed things if Mac had successfully picked the lock quietly.
Yeah, and stealthed your way in.
And we had gotten in there stealthily. That would have changed things.
Especially because you guys specifically didn't have a light source on. You guys were all using dark vision, which usually that's what fucks you up is you've got a light source of some kind.
What happened is Gottwald crowbarred the door open, which alerted everybody in the room that we were there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I failed.
You failed, yes.
Yeah, I don't pick locks though. So.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, you were saying there's not a lot of locked doors. I just thought, let's probably for that reason, like let's just throw a locked door in there, knowing that there are other ways inside. If you guys are completely like, man, we cannot get through this door, because I would never lock a critical door that you need to proceed. Sure. There are other entrances. So you would have had to go around, I guess, if you didn't. Which you can always break a door down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If it's a mundane lock, you can always just bash it in
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah, so yeah, I thought it went pretty cool. I thought it's neat having kind of forcing the fight here with a cool stat block creature and having the underwater combat and all that, and then having a cool social encounter with a real nasty monster creature who's oddly fun, which is probably one of my favorite RP.
I also like the accent you were doing. I don't know what accent that was.
I don't know.
It sounded almost like gosh, not quite her husky voice, but the Arabic lady that was in The Expanse. It sounded almost like an Arabic accent. Agadishlu.
Yes.
I can't remember her first name.
Yeah.
It sounded,
I cannot pull her voice
Arabic.
off, but her voice is very cool.
Yeah.
Got that real like deep, yeah. But maybe the cadence I was trying to do that a little bit, yeah.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, there's certain creatures like vampires, hags, like you just have to do some kind of cool role playing thing with them, I think.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like half the fun of those creatures is the role play of the characters themselves, not the mechanical like combat abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So you guys got through it
like a monster.
You guys got through a lot quicker than I thought you did, so I got to tease kind of the next event happening.
Yeah.
Which at this point you guys are out.
Also, we didn't we talk about this next time.
Yeah.
How long did it take us to get here? How many times have we slept since between there and here?
Yeah.
Do we get a long rest? Do I get to make my saves again? So those are all questions we need to answer at the beginning of the next session.
That's true.
Because I'm still a monster.
I'm a monster. Damn it. That is, you know what? I meant to fucking, I thought we'd bring that up too. Is like you asked the vampire lady, like, hey, can you remove this curse or what can we do?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I didn't either in the time. And I think I meant to when I was planning this and thinking like, oh, maybe if they, now it would have definitely been some kind of transactional deal. She would not have done it from the bottom of her heart. But that would have been a kind of a cool thing to offer if either of us had thought of that, basically.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about it.
But yeah, we technically haven't even short rested. I mean, so we definitely need to like take a step back and be like, okay, how many days have gone? What have we done in those days? You know?
Yeah, I wasn't honestly planning on having there be any days go by, but I would probably let you guys have at least.
But there's some distance though on the map, right? Like there's they're not, or is it right next to where we are?
Oh well, I just mentioned that you guys got back up on the ship, started traveling, and then later that day.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying like we were headed, like we got to where we were going. Okay.
No, not yet. Yeah. This is basically a random encounter, although it's not so random as you'll find out.
Well, then I take it all back. Yeah,
okay.
If we haven't slept, then fine. But we probably would have short rested.
I think that's fair.
Like at least 5 minutes have gone by.
I definitely think that's fair. Yeah, we can do that for next time. But yeah, when you actually head to the Nalanther Isles, then I definitely think you guys will be due for something.
I'll get another chance to demutate.
Yeah, I think that'll be fair.
Honestly, as I've stepped through this, honestly,
maybe on the next treasure thing you'll find.
Yeah,
you've been rolling the gangbusters.
The disadvantage has not been the problem. The move speed is fucking killing me.
That's fascinating.
Is killing me. I can't, especially with like this long hallway. I was like, I can't get anywhere.
It's interesting how some things affect the DM worse and other things affect the players worse. Because like whenever you cast slow, movement was almost never an issue. It was the fewer actions that I would get.
No multi-attack.
Yeah,
no bonus
but
action,
you've got such a huge to hit that the disadvantage actually isn't that much of a killer, but the movement is devastating, especially when you have certain maps like that where it's like, oh god, and that's not always the case, but the boss room happened to be gigantic and like 80 feet long, and you're like, fuck.
Yep. And I remember thinking at one point when this happened that okay, for the time being, until I get this fixed, I'm gonna my battlefield strategy is gonna be to be like Savra's bodyguard. I'll stay. Yeah. I just won't go very far from her because I can't move that far anyway.
Yeah.
But in this case, the dude who's fucking launching lightning bolts down the hallway. I'm like, all right,
and there's nobody near her.
If I stay back here, I'm just gonna get hit by fucking.
But ironically, you ended up being her savior anyway.
Yeah,
I did think that was funny the way it worked out because everybody else was so far away from her.
Yeah, like
and she was rolling. Away. She had rolled a death save already. Like that gets kind of dicey.
Yeah.
And then you got
that did end up working out.
Protect her, yeah. May I remind the DM we are still level cursed. Thank you, man.
That's right.
Yeah, we are. Good.
You didn't talk about the most important part. How we recruited a shark into our team.
So yeah, that's one of the things. I don't know if you're gonna regret that later.
I don't know. You planned for it. I don't know if it was late
Well,
and you gave up.
I will say this. I just think it's cool. I love the idea, and we talked about, I think, last week about me and Ray and how he tries everything and some of it works and works very well. You do not mind control the shark, and the shark is not part of your ranger repertoire. So you do have you're establishing a relationship with said shark.
It's still early in the relationship.
It's still early in the relationship, so I just want to temper your expectations, basically. Now, it's a trained creature,
Yes.
and I'm literally kind of thinking similar to like a warhorse or something. So it's like trained for combat. Works with Sahuagin, however, who fight completely underwater. Obviously, the shark can only be underwater. So I'm willing to work with you on this, but don't expect it to necessarily follow your exact commands. But it depends on, how you're treating it and what the commands are as well. So I think it's going to be...
And it does sound like an overly attached girlfriend. So you may have some like problems if
and
you
I'm
go
always
on
one of
land
the
for too
RP.
long.
Yeah.
You may come back. You may come back to the ocean, and the shark's just like, "Hey, you've been gone for too long."
You never call.
Yeah.
You never text. Yeah, no, I think I'm
hanging
down
out with
with
the boys, Sharky.
Yeah, you're smothering me. No, I'm down with it. We'll see where it goes. And I just introduced an opportunity that will probably change the dynamic of the fight, which is a incoming pirate ship basically coming towards you, and Mac is in the water riding a giant shark alongside your ship.
I don't see any other way. Like, here's the shark. His leader's gone. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
This is your path.
yeah.
Your
What
path
else are you gonna do with a shark that we've socially encountered?
we've socially encountered. So not only did you maybe not necessarily befriend, but at least remain neutral with a vampire. And actually, I liked the way we could talk about how Savra, he dropped 4 wands when he died.
Yeah.
And instead of like scooping up those wands or arguing about it, she's like, let me just have 1 wand. So
Now,
I noticed
how
I
much
didn't
of
have to
that-
make anybody make any charisma checks or anything, because we were
Right.
just like, all right, everybody's being respectful. I actually see just the 1 wand, and it's like, all right.
How much of that did you have planned? How much leeway were you like in your head before we even did any of that? How much leeway were you willing, like, thinking about giving us in terms of like looting the bodies or like any of that?
I don't know. It would have depended purely, I think, on the RP
On what we said?
and how I'm
Yeah.
feeling. Yeah. I think it was just I didn't have any preconceived notions other than what I mentioned earlier, which is had you guys looted the sarcophagus,
Yeah.
and had those loots, then she would have started. If you think about the meter of the NPC,
Should have been like a 4 instead of like an 8 or whatever she
yeah,
was.
basically, and it would have been a lot harder to explain, and
Yeah.
she would have been a lot more aggressive and not as gracious a host.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking like, all right, you guys, you were very respectful and yada yada, and at one point, Savra's like, I'm wafting more blood towards her or something. I was
Drink
like,
my
all right,
blood.
all right, don't get too dangerous now, because she might really get a
I feel like
taste
if
for
you
that.
if Savra had kept talking for a little while longer, she may have decided I want to be a vampire and just sort of like
watch me panicking for a second, going like, okay, this could be a thing that happens, but I need to like flip through a book and see how this works.
How does vampirism work?
Yeah. So that's why I was kind of trying to explain through dialogue. I was like, okay, maybe, because I think you picked up, I was like, well, maybe you turned into one of these creatures. It was like a spawn. And I was like, yeah, I think, but also players I think can be vampires. So I was like, well, maybe I can turn it into something where like the player would have to make like saves,
Yeah.
in order to like, survive the experience, something like that, where it's a big rip. But then that's, what do you just KO the person if it doesn't
Right.
work
Yeah.
out
What
at
happens
that
if you
point?
fail?
I guess. Yeah. They're like, whoops, you're a vampire spawn now. So the fact that I even I think entered that as a possibility, then that kind of shut that down.
Right.
I guess I should have considered that, where somebody would be like, hey, can I sign up for
Yeah.
vampirism?
Can I sign up? Can I join your cult?
Yeah. Is this Skyrim where I can sign up for all the different lycanthropy
Exactly.
stuff? Yeah, I was gonna say we are basically headed towards the end game now. Like, this was kind of the last little open world area. I won't say if Tentrix's thing is the final thing, but in terms of the game kind of entering,
I gotta imagine it's not. I'm not gonna press you, but I gotta imagine the Kraken stuff's the problem with the end game.
But in other words, this is like the open world portion is kind of coming to a close, and you guys will be on kind of that linear final act area as you approach. Which I'm teasing the fact that all the compasses point to the Lanther Isles, and all that stuff. So
we've now dealt with only 2 of the pirates because
you've met a third one. Yeah, the third one escaped.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's at least 2 more that you haven't encountered, and there's a pirate ship heading towards you, sporting the Black Armada flag. And they did mention that some of them are just literally out hunting you. So
nice. Yeah.
Figured we need at least one nice big old fashioned just fucking pirate ship on.
We haven't had a pirate ship battle in a while.
It's been a while. Yeah.
Man, you got to remind us what our ship has. We got the.
I have to go back and look it up too. Yeah, you've done
at least 2.
We got a ballista, I think.
I think at the very least you've got a ram and a ballista. If anybody thinks of something more, let me know. But I'll have to check on my notes and see. 'Cause it's been a while. You guys are basically at the level where like most encounters are being hand waved away, but this is not most encounters.
Yeah,
this is like a fucking scripted thing.
Yep.
Which we'll look forward to next time, since like I said, we actually for once in, well, I'd say ever, but very few times did you guys actually make it way further than I thought you did.
Yeah.
Because you basically went to the boss room and we got through that whole fight in a session. Now it did take longer. I think it was like we ended at like 12:30, which is a lot later than we usually do, but we got through it all. So we're actually ahead of things, which is awesome.
Nice.
Anything else about session 42?
It was a good one. I like this episode. Even though I didn't do much.
You saved Savra twice.
I saved Savra, yeah.
Once from the trap when she got sucked in there. Remember, you were able to pull her out of it, and then the second time you literally like revived her. So
I just like the what do you call it? Imagination of the vampire mermaid encounter and us coming into them fighting. I like the whole dungeon. I enjoyed quite a bit.
Nice, cool. All right, that will do it for this week's Chat from the Deep. Thank you to Chris and Raymond. Thank you to all the fans for watching, and we will see you next time.
Later.
Bye.